Hey everybody, welcome to another video on my channel. So this video comes to you from the 2024 Survival Podcast Fall Workshop. For those who haven't been to a workshop, it's a great place to come and learn about almost anything. We have hands-on experience events, presenters, panels, sidebar discussions. It's a wonderful place to meet lifelong friends as well as do professional contact development. So look forward to seeing you there. If you're interested, you can always listen to the Survival Podcast come summertime and look for the announcement. Today's video is going to feature Nicole Sauce of Living Free in Tennessee and Hollow Rose Coffee, explaining her My Three Things framework for getting things done in your everyday life. Before we get started with that, I want to give a shout out to a few new subscribers. We have Nobody with a bunch of numbers after it, Dennis Johnson, and Tree Rubber. So welcome to the community, and hope you guys continue to like and comment on the videos. Have a great one.
Nobody's gonna stand in my way. Give it up, son, I'm doing this my way.
All right, guys. First of all, anybody who we've heard talking about how they're not quite sure where they're going or not quite sure what to do next, has anybody heard anybody talking about stuff like that here?
Yes.
Or I've tried this thing. If they're not in the room, their asses should be in here. So if somebody wants to go get them, I highly recommend that we send a runner.
Got it.
And because this is the session they needed to see. Also, I'm doing a free webinar in January for My Three Things, which will be a deeper dive to walk you through step by step. And what happens as a result of these webinars is people end up talking to each other and critiquing each other's development of a life strategic plan, because that's what we're talking about today. If you want to sign up for that now, you can go to NicoleSauce.com. And if you don't want to forget that, I learned this trick from Jack, because I will shamelessly steal really good ideas from anybody. Take out your phone and send yourself or a buddy, better yet, a buddy, NicoleSauce.com. You merely have to spell it right. There's no H in Nicole. That's a sin against the name. And then they'll be like, why'd you send me that? And you'll be like, oh yeah, I gotta go sign up for that thing. I wanted to get that out of the way now so that you know it's happening. As I was watching Andy McCann talk today, a phrase came up for me.
Unsexy?
No.
That was a burn right there.
She was so adamant with that. Nice try.
Yeah, nice try. The thing I thought was this, and it's an important thing, and it's something that Andy did to change his life. You are the story you tell yourself. That's such a simple phrase, right? But if you dive deeper to that, he's saying, I get to drive my daughter to school. Or she gets to drive me to school, and by doing this, she is learning how to drive, which ultimately will give him freedom, because I know how it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Plus, she becomes a functioning adult who can drive. Stick shift, right?
That's
Yeah. For some reason, that decided just to advance on its own for fun. I wonder if that's on a timer.
I think you would hit play.
No, I just hit, yeah, okay. So what story are you telling yourself right now? When you woke up this morning, did you get up and say, I'm going to go have a great day? Today's going to be awesome? Or did you wake up and say, my head hurts because I drank too much. I'm hungover.
Today's awesome.
Today's awesome. If you have a hangover, what's the story you need to tell yourself?
Drink Pedialyte.
I'm going to drink Pedialyte today. It is that simple, though. Who here still has a job? Who here doesn't 100% love their job? Has a job. Like, yeah.
The second question was what?
Doesn't 100% love your job. Yeah, he's like, no. Do you get to go to work, or do you have to go to work? You have to go to work. Why do you go to work?
To make money.
What do you do with the money? Wait, hold on. Thank you. What do you do with the money?
I spend it to try to get closer to the kind of life I want to
You get to go to work so you can have the money you need to build your house. Specifically, you are my first example of somebody who's telling themselves the right story. Because when I first met you, Chris, you were talking about how you were an architect and you wanted to get further into sort of something more permaculture related. You have since learned that using the word homestead design is way easier to sell than a permaculture design architect, and you wanted to get your family into a different situation. But here was the problem. Chris is married, right? And Chris's wife didn't want to live in a car somewhere, so he was renting an apartment for his wife and children, which costs money, which makes it harder to save money. So what Chris did, I'm sure after having some good conversations with your wife, because you don't just do this without doing that, is they bought property. They bought an RV, and how many years have you been living in that RV? 2 years they've been living in that RV, not paying rent. Where do those resources go, Chris?
Into property.
What did it take for you to tell yourself a different story besides I'm stuck in an apartment at a job I don't want to have?
Well, we ran the numbers and we thought we didn't want to live that way.
Yeah. You ran the numbers and we realized it was going to be a really long time until you had enough money, and you figured out, instead of saying, I'm stuck in this job, you said, how can I do this? How can we do our goal? And then you found a way. Did you find a way the very next day?
No.
I too am a 5-year overnight success. But the truth behind my 5 years of overnight success is I'm 52 years old. Okay? So I'm really a 52-year overnight success. And I would say of that, functionally 32 of those years. That's what it has taken for me. So when you see people, we always see the end of the story. We always see the end of the story. Andy McCann's the same way. He gets to drive his daughter to school. Do you drink?
Not yet.
Not yet?
At the moment.
I'm not drinking at the moment. Interesting. Why did you choose that tense?
So y'all would not shun me? It's a choice I'm making.
It's a choice he makes every time somebody asks him if he wants a Manhattan. Do you want a Manhattan?
Next time.
Next time. Yeah. Not right now. Not right now. He's also the dude who I learned to smash sugar cravings in the nose with a pickle, which I think is very brave and smart. The thing about being an overnight success over 5 years is that you can have anything you want. And the younger you are, the easier it is to eventually build that in your life. And Jack says this, you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want. So what's that mean? Prioritize. You're gonna trade. You need to trade something. Chris traded living in a more comfortable apartment with space for his family. How many children do you have? 2 children, 2 adults, 1 RV. How big's the RV?
Not big enough.
Not big enough. And how uncomfortable is that?
You walk sideways most of the time.
Do you have animals? You have animals, pets?
Yeah.
What do you have?
We have chickens and a bunch of cats.
Are they in the RV with you?
Before we had the coop, they busted out of the bathroom.
So you raised them in an RV bathroom. That's wow. Was that uncomfortable? But if all you hear from Chris is that he has enough freedom, he can come to Tennessee to consult with me on the outbuilding I want that's going to serve 5 functions on my homestead. And in order to do that, we need some help with the right kinds of designs and how can we build something that's efficient, that taps into to what is already there and that fills those functions, which is what's going to happen. Before he had that, to get that freedom, he had to be uncomfortable. All good change happens when we're uncomfortable. What's your favorite movie? Somebody tell me their favorite movie.
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. What's Red Dawn about?
Oh,
Which one?
The Christmas movie.
somebody comes to try to mess with America.
Okay, just
America.
what are they doing to mess with America?
Invading.
Huh?
You guys
Invading.
watch this?
I will admit in front of everybody that one of the trade-offs I've made to get shit done is I don't watch things. So I don't know if I've seen Red Dawn or not. Yeah. So they want to mess with it. What do? They invade. And who's going to be the person that fixes this problem? What's that person's name? Patrick Swayze. He was kind of hot when I was growing up. Dirty Dancing. See, that's how long ago it's been since I watched something. So Patrick Swayze is gonna. What's his character's name? Uh-oh. Okay, so uh-oh is gonna save the day.
The Wolverines is the group that.
So the Wolverines are gonna save us. And how do they become aware that there's a problem?
They're being shot at.
They're being shot at. Okay, so shot at. And what do they try to do to stop this situation?
Guerrilla marketing.
Guerrilla marketing?
Guerrilla warfare.
Guerrilla warfare. So they. Oh, they run away. First they run away, and then they try guerrilla warfare.
Well, they tried to live alone, and then they tried guerrilla warfare.
And then what else do they do? What else did they try that failed?
Well, they got.
Drinking blood from deer. That's an interesting approach.
Hey.
So is the thing that actually makes it so they save the day the guerrilla warfare?
Well, no, because they mostly died. They inspired people.
They inspired people. So they go out, they do a mission, most of them die, and because of that, people are inspired. This is a light bulb, not a penis. Okay? Every time I draw anything that's long, I'm like, let's just clarify. They inspire people. As a result of people being inspired, what happens?
Their dad gets shot.
No,
that's early in the movie.
no, so as a result of them being successful and inspiring people to take care of this, what happens?
Revolution.
There's a revolution. Did somebody fall in love with somebody and like live happily ever after it all?
No.
Okay, no. Not that kind of movie. Usually there's like somebody.
There was some falling in love and being killed.
Okay, so I want you to look. This is a classic story arc. Pretty much any movie goes through this. And they usually, you can start anywhere along this road, right? But usually there is a protagonist or the person we're going to follow through the story. Something bad happens and it sets them on a journey. It's the hero's journey. And then they have things, there's backstory that's bad usually, and then they have challenges that come up and they try things and they fail, and they try things and they fail, and they almost always try 3 things and fail. And then the breakthrough happens and it's happily ever after, right? Or it's better. Not every movie does that, but almost every movie. How much of this is written in red? Most of it. The red is the bad stuff. Red is for communism. It's the bad stuff. Okay? So, what does this have to do with my 3 things?
Most of your life sucks.
No.
It's the struggle.
In order to know how to prioritize what you do every day, what do you have to know?
What you do every day.
Where you want to go?
Where you want to go. Joel Riles was talking about commander's intent, which I had to say 6 times before I walked up here because I was going to totally forget that term, but I loved it. And that is his single sentence statement that he can look at in simple words every day that gets him going. Right? He has clearly articulated where he wants to go. But why has he chosen that?
He's not a quitter.
Because I step back. I want to know that sentence. For me to get to that sentence, I have to know why. Why am I here? What am I achieving? What does happiness look like in the future for me? What does happiness look like for me now? In order to know that, you know what I actually have to do personally? What does misery look like? What makes me terribly unhappy? Why does it make me unhappy? And really deep dive down into the things things that make me happy, understand what is about the things that make me happy. Because if you want to find a direction to go long term, where you keep going, you're never going to get there, by the way, I hope. I hope you never really reach your vision. Because when it's still guiding you forward, you're still growing and you're still moving that direction. And the truth is, the moving in that direction is what the joy is. But you want to find a vision, and I like to describe this as a state of perpetual being, which is a lot of words, isn't it? What do you mean by that? If you were going to describe me in one word, what would it be, Jack? Like my secret sauce. Secret sauce. What's my secret sauce?
Execution.
Is it networking? Is it...
I think it's execution.
Think on that.
I think it's interest.
Interest.
You have an interest in people, in things. Your interest causes you to explore deeply and connect deeply with people.
Okay, that's true.
Because plenty of people have your motivation and your aggression and things, but it's that deep interest. That's I've always said I like to have friends that have a little of something I wish I could do better at, and that's something I admire you for.
Why am I really here in this role in this room?
Because you care about people.
And what do I do for you here?
Everything.
Behind the scenes.
A lot. She cleaned chicken shit off my porch last year.
Yeah, I did. So sure, I do the work, but the thing I'm doing that you don't see is, as we've talked and I've heard things from you, and I talk to other people and I hear things from them, I try to set up situations. It sounds very manipulative, and it's not meant that way. I set up situations where you accidentally talk to each other, or I'll like literally just put you together. Yeah. My secret sauce is catalyzing change in people.
You're a fixer.
But the word catalyzing has way too many syllables, in my opinion. So I like to spark change. Positive change. Yeah. Well, I was hoping you could get it down to one word and I would have an epiphany and just have one word.
I'll get there now.
Yeah. Yeah. So people do ask me how I get so much done. And part of it is the ADHD. Because when you hyper-focus, you can get the work done of a gajillion people. Am I diagnosed with it? No. Do I have it? Maybe. Does it matter? No. But I have that same thing where I scatter. And when you scatter, and this is where people, like normal people interacting with an ADHD person, when we're in scatter mode, they're really irritated with us. Because we're like, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. What's happening here? And the strength of that mode, and why I hate medication for this, squirrel, is that when I'm in that mode, I will see patterns and nobody else will see, because they would never think of relating that thing to that thing. Yeah. But without the second, like the 1-2 punch, where you then go focus so much that you forget everything exists for a while, like mom's seen me do it. I'm really into spinning, and all I will do is spin for weeks. And then it's like, forget that spinning wheel, I'm done. I've just learned everything I need to know about how to spin wool, right? Some things stick, like swimming for me. Then you hyper-focus and you get the work of a gajillion people done. And so I see these characteristics out among y'all, and that's how I get so much done. But the Trojan horse, or the Achilles heel of that is that if you're getting a lot done, it feels good to get a lot. When you're in hyper-focus mode, so you're like, I'm gonna go into beast mode, ooh! And then you go and you do a bunch of stuff. If the things you do don't move you forward, you're in trouble. Which is why I developed my 3 things, because when I was growing up and you had suspected ADD, they thought I had it, right, in grade school, Mom? They never called it. They wanted to assess me, and Mom wouldn't let them.
Hyperactivity, that's what they called it.
Yeah, they called it hyperactivity. Yeah. What we did in Generation X is you just rhinoceros through the situation, and you figured out ways around things, and some people were successful at that and some people weren't. And a lot of why I was successful is that's my mom, and she really likes lists. But also, I figured out what to do with the emotion you get when there is so much to do, and you look at the so much to do, and you get tight right here, and then your stomach kind of hurts, and I call it spinning. In your head, this is what's going on. You're looking at all the things. It's like when you clean your house and you start the laundry, and then you see that the bucket is left out, and then you move the bucket, and then you drop the bucket, and you're like, I got to go get the mop, and you go get the mop, and then you notice the dog's outside, and the next thing you know, you're out running the sprinklers to water the swales, and then you come back, and your spouse is like, what happened here? I need to recreate this, right? But this is also a really good process for you if you're not ADD. The reason I get so much done really is that I have a strong-ass community around me. Every one of y'all being on my side is part of why I get stuff done. I ask how can I when I have a seemingly impossible situation in front of me, like Self-Reliance Festival is a really big thing to coordinate. And it freaks me out every time I look at the scope of work that's coming for that. And then I say, well, what can I do today to move it towards that? Like once we have a definition of where there is, it's a lot easier. And then when I get overstimulated, I double down on using every day the My 3 Things planner for myself, where I list everything I have to do. And we all know that list, right? The one you're not actually going to get done that day. Choose the 3 most important things, never more than 3, and focus in on those. And the only way I can do that is with the first step, which is, hold on, develop your vision. We're not going to go through all these slides because we're going to deep dive on these slides on January 9th at 6 p.m. Central in the free webinar. So a vision needs to have push and pull. Where do you really want to go? What will happen if you opt for a little better than today versus way better than today, right? And are you happy with the status quo? If the truth is you just like your life and you're happy with it, you should walk out of this room right now. But I've heard a lot of you saying, I don't know if this is what I want to do. Or I don't know, yeah, you like literally said those words to me, and I was like, I'm glad you're in this session. I think I sent people out for you. No, I just sent somebody out for everybody. And that's going to be the difference, because how change really happens, like most people think change happens in this sort of trajectory towards your vision, right? Like we make the plan, we follow the plan, and everything goes to plan, right? Every time. No, you kind of start out and you'll find the one thing that just like accelerates you up, and then you have step change. And so what you need to do is ask yourself the questions. Now, somebody who's done a lot of podcast episodes with the same questions basically is Jack with his 12 stomps. So I kept hearing people saying 12 stomps, 12 stomps, 12 stomps here. Go do your 12 stomps. Ask yourself those questions. When I'm happiest, what am I doing? If I were to be successful in what I think my purpose here is, how would the world look different? How would it look different? If I died for 10 years after being successful and I started whatever thing I'm starting, how would I know it had been successful when I came back to life magically, because I'm Jesus, apparently, in this example. But, you know, or if you're cryogenically frozen, or however you want to think about that. What is the real impact of what I'm doing? And these questions are questions I ask myself to this day as I evaluate my vision. You look confused. Okay. So, as a result, so this is the first question you ask yourself is, as a result of your being wildly successful, what has happened? So some examples of things you may come up with. You just make a statement. You don't worry about wordsmithing. You just make a statement. Hollow Roast makes it so easy to enjoy premium coffee so that doers can start their most productive days on the right foot in the luxury they wish to build. Okay? Or for the holler neighbors, or the holler community, which I don't have a clear definition of what the community is, but it's the wider Tennessee GSD crew. Brian's part of it in the back. The holler community provides a supportive place where aspiring agorists and homesteaders can connect, rejuvenate, share best practices, find missing children, and prosper together in freedom. I just keep hearing that alert go off. Right. I added some extra words there.
Like,
no, I just heard an alert go off. This is a good start towards a vision. But in my opinion, I could not rattle off either one of those to you if you asked me what my vision was. But that doesn't matter. This is an iterative process. So you start with this, and then you give it a rest, and then you run it by people and say, Eric, Hollow Roast makes it easy to enjoy premium coffee so that doers can start their most productive days on the right foot in the luxury they wish to build. Do you think that's true about Hollow Roast?
Well, I order 4 pounds a month.
Okay.
So yes.
So, and what about, like, why do you buy Hollow Roast?
I do really, honestly, for 2 reasons. One, it's very good coffee. And 2, I do it to support you.
Why do you support me?
Because your vision and the community that you build are a part of what I want to be involved in.
So I start listening to the words he's saying back to me about Hollow Roast, and what I heard there that is not in this is the word community. And what I get from that, and I bet if I go talk to 10 of you who are ongoing customers here, the word community, connection, or relationship is going to come up, and that tells me my vision's not quite right. And I need to think about how is Hollow Roast developing community, and really maybe these two things are one thing. Right? One's a company, one is what I do.
Are you still looking for your love brand word? Have you not just discovered it?
I already know it.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to show the scarred underbelly to walk us through this. Okay. So really, then we go on to purpose, and this is the so what. I think a commander's intent fits with purpose in this method. I don't put timeline on my purpose, though. Okay? So this is where you started with why, and then you went, so what? It goes back to some overlapping questions. Why do you exist in the world? What unique purpose do you serve? Hollow Roast Coffee delivers a premium coffee experience so that our customers can spend a little to start each day in luxury. And here's where I was going with that. And I'm pretty sure spend a little needs to come the fuck out of there. But it is, if you're tight on budget and you've given up every luxury to live in a trailer, to build your dream house, and you've decided we want one thing, or is an expensive bottle of booze every month what you're going to buy, or is something that you have every day that reminds you what you're working towards, what you want to have? A luxurious cup of coffee before you go out and seize the world and get shit done. I'm looking for the people who want the coffee, because I'm not selling whiskey. I'm selling coffee. I do have bourbon cooled coffee, though. So, if you want to bridge both those things, that's at hollowroast.com. So you see how the vision and purpose kind of overlap. One's more why, one's a little bit more what. And then you go into your BHAGs. Does anybody know what BHAG stands for?
Big, hairy, audacious.
Big, hairy, audacious goals. Every time you heard that at your business that you worked at that walked you through one of those work sessions, you wanted to punch somebody in the nose, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
But just because you wanted to do that, if you set them for yourself, right, you can actually have goals that you believe in, first of all, because it's not just what the boss ends up telling you the goal is, even after they tried to pull you along, and then you're not really going to do it. That's why you hate it. When you do this, you commit to doing this for yourself. And for your goat yoga business, it goes back to why am I doing it? So am I doing it because I love the goats? Am I doing it because I like the community that's developing around it? What's my role in that? And you said to us you don't really like being around the people, right? Is that correct?
I like the people, but I don't like them invading our property. I like our space.
I like their money, but I don't want them.
I like their money, but I don't want them there. But they come there because Chad made a beautiful property, right? Right?
I've met some amazing people. Some of them drive me bananas, but it's just the invasion of space, I guess.
Yeah.
That's more what
I don't believe in reinventing really good tools, and I am a fan of the SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. For me to get to my intentions and strategies, to set my BHAGs, basically, I do a SWOT analysis. We got out of Self-Reliance Festival, and the first week before any of us had actually caught up on sleep, I had us do a SWOT analysis as a team, and everybody humored me. And it was very helpful because it unearthed perspectives from different team members on that, so that as we move forward with Self-Reliance Festival, which is going down to once a year next year and moving locations, which is scary, right? We could have clarity on where we think our opportunities lie, where our threats are, and craft where we're going next year based on that. Okay, do it for yourself. If you were to do that for your goat yoga business, what would that look like? If you were to do it for your architecture, like what you're, I don't actually have a single word for what you're doing out there, but he's building the life he loves out there. What does that look like? What threatens that? I've always known that my homestead is threatened if we get zoning. And I have been there for 17 years without zoning. I left Oregon because of zoning ruining that state. I don't know how you guys stay there, but you do. But you just lucked out. Because he's making money off the liberals. That's how.
Liberal farming.
Liberal farming. You're farming liberal cash is what you're doing. I grew up in Oregon, and I watched the state, like just from a child's perspective, change from a pretty, you could do what you wanted in a lot of cases. We lived outside the Portland area, Portland metro area, and my parents had a 5-acre piece of land, and they put a nursery on it, which is a commercial operation, and Mom did landscape installs. And while that business was not what ended up being a successful career path, what she didn't have was the police knocking on her door saying, pull these greenhouses down and stop selling plants. When zoning comes in, that is a very possible outcome eventually. And in order to preserve farmland, we put in zoning, and then we make farms too expensive for the farmers to keep because they can't do on their property what they want. So I've always known that was a threat. And as I assessed what we were doing in the holler, I kept that threat in mind, because now we're in the situation where the threat is real. And I need to make some quick changes as a result of that, but I knew it was coming because I did the SWOT analysis, right? Which is amazing. So this, you walk through the SWOT, and then you, with everything up, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, you write all this stuff down, you go through and you say, which things do we need to pay attention to? And guess how many you choose from each category?
3.
Why 3? Because your brain keeps up with 3 things. 3 things if you write a great essay in college, I cracked this code from high school English. I wrote an introduction with 3 supporting points. I wrote a paragraph for each point with some explanation. And in conclusion, I restated what was at the top. And the first time I did that, the teacher thought she was like, my professor was like, wow, you already know how to do this. We don't have to teach you how to do this in college. I'm like, well, because in high school English, we had to do that 90 times, Yeah. And that persisted. The only thing that changed as additional papers were being written in my education was that it got longer, till it was that 20-page thing that I had to write. But basically, it was always organized in 3s, even if it was 3 big sections with 3 subpoints and 3 things. And that's because that's what our brains keep up with naturally. Why fight nature? We don't fight nature when we're building our homesteads. Don't fight nature when you're writing your life strategic plan. But find your priorities, and then you want to have a goal that is clear. I'm going to break the rules about timeline on this one for a reason. My BHAG is to attract enough ongoing customers so that we can predictably manage our production and farm source products. That's for my holler homestead, right? And then from there, we start getting the numbers. 100 monthly subscribers with an average of 4 pounds per subscription. Thank you very much, Eric. 4 premium coffee blends for Amazon. That came off when I realized what you have to do to get your coffee on Amazon. You know what I have to do? I have to send them a bunch of product that they're going to put in a dang warehouse and let it get stale, and then they're going to ship it to people. Does that support my brand? No, because I was challenged here to do a $60 coffee on Amazon by Jack, and I was like, you know why that's not going to happen?
No, I do.
Yeah.
I would do it.
And 1 to 2 label contests. These goals have an 18-month timeline there for that particular year. And then once you have all of those things, you put it on one piece of paper. One piece of paper is important. Why? when we write strategic plans for analytical companies, we give them a 200-page strategic plan book with all of the timelines and the staffing plans and all of that shit. And do they ever crack the book?
No.
Do they feel like they accomplished something because they have the book?
Yep.
From a marketing standpoint, if I were to go back into corporate facilitation, you know what I would do? I would have a templated book I could hand people that they were never going to look at, that had analysis of like their social media and what their statistics were and some surveys of their employees and all of that stuff in there. Kiri's probably the only one that would read it. She's smiling. HR lady's going, oh no. But I would package it with the one page on top so that the people who have the attention span of a gnat, which is a lot of people, can look at that. Because in order for this tool to really work, you have to look at this at least once a week. Yeah.
Can you go back to that previous slide? So you mentioned the private label thing, and then it really quickly went away. Are you good with like a corporate contract?
Let's talk. It depends. Yes, I'm good with a corporate contract.
Okay.
It may not be with the brand Hollow Roast, depending on the size of the corporate contract. But I have another way of executing. Yeah.
It's just with our marketing department, and
Oh yeah, yeah. I do corporate contracts for Christmas presents all the time. For
Yeah.
we're doing
Okay.
100 VIP prizes for John Willis's party from Hollow Roast.
Okay.
Yeah, to go in the swag bags. Yeah. Well, I got your number in my phone. He texted me, and we haven't spoken in 2 years, probably 3 years.
Yeah.
And he's programmed in my phone. And if you're programmed in my phone with your actual name,
We're glad you're here.
holy cow, that's amazing. Because I'm like Jack. It's part of how I know if I need to respond to something. Squirrel. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about the squirrel, but not right now. And then my secret to a great day is to then take this and put it into your daily plan, which I guess I don't have a picture of it in here, where you write a list of everything and then choose the 3 things. I actually have a worksheet for that I'll bring down and show you guys. Can you?
Where is it?
In my backpack.
Yep.
Or near my backpack. Yeah, thank you. And that tool for me, I can see 4 days at one time, the way I have it designed for myself. We have it set up so that you can customize. Like, I'll give you the worksheet. If you go to NicoleSauce.com, I'm pretty sure you can download the workbook for my 3 things, walk yourself through your own questions, and it ends with that worksheet, which has your, I make an icon for each of my areas of focus that I'm going to fix this year. And for me, one is health, which is a heart for me. One is wealth, which is a $sign. And the last, it should be a Bitcoin symbol. I'll change it on the next workbook. And the last one is community, because I know without my connections, without tapping into my secret sauce, I can't do it. And so when I do my 3 things list, I try to get one from each of those, unless I have a 1-3 thing. What's a 1-3 thing? Anybody want to take a guess?
One thing.
It's something so important you have to get it
It's
done.
so important that my 3 things is really one thing, right? When you have that tool, you can go back at the end of the day and look and say, did I get these 3 things done? Because it's dinner time. And then you can go, oh shit, I didn't do that one. And you can still knock that one out. That's something that happens to me all the time. Or when you get to that time in the middle of the day where 9 fires had to be put out, right? You can, you've put them out. You've called the people about the porta potties that aren't showing up, or yeah, that happened. I watched that go down once. I watched that go down here. Dorothy created a miracle last time because the porta potties weren't coming. And if you want, I had my first glimpse of angry Dorothy. But you weren't the fun angry Dorothy. You were like legit. You were just. I was like, I'm. If I can help, I'll help. But I'm staying out of her path right now. But she called somebody. She was super nice on the phone too. To the news. She's like, hey, do you have porta potties you can deliver? And they're like, we could be there in an hour. And she's like, I'm never using that other company again. And then she. Yeah, that's why we have porta potties being cleaned today. So yeah. So this is the worksheet here. and I'll leave it up here so you can look at it. And I'll get up and I'll write this list. For me, because of how my brain works, this list is short on purpose, so I run out of lines to fill. Okay? And then over here, I have this gray area. This is while I'm working during the day, I and another thing myself. Do you know what that means? And another idea I have that I'd like to not work on today, but I just had the idea and I'm going to forget it. That goes here in this area. I put my important appointments up here and then my 3 things there. And I can just use this to ground myself. I like to look at 4 of these at once, so it can be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because Friday's not really a work day, right, Jack? I work every day, but my most productive push every week, I go through a cycle, like a hero's journey, really, where I beast mode through Wednesday into Thursday, and then halfway through Thursday, sometimes halfway through Friday, I start cleanup mode, which is fixing the warpath that was created by things got left different places because the bigger priority was coming back here. So for me, that's how that implements. And I'm going to open it up to any questions, or if you want to discuss a specific thing, just so we have time for that.
I'll be Jerry.
You're going to be Jerry Springer?
I'll be Jerry Spirko.
Yeah. Because you can build a beautiful life as long as you define it. But if you don't define what you want your state of being to be, what makes you happy, then you're going to build whatever you build, and it probably won't be the right thing. So, and then you'll be like super dang successful at the wrong thing. And often that's how we end up being high paid positions in scaffolding companies and not really wanting to be there, for example.
Is Sean over here?
He'll be here.
So y'all line up if you got questions, except for Jake. You asked too many questions.
He hasn't